Hi everyone, my name is Shayna Dalio, and I'm here today to talk about urban gardening. The purpose of my speech is to inform my audience the power and the impact that urban and rural gardening has on communities known as food deserts. Food deserts are areas in which there is very little to no healthy, fresh, and clean foods. They are areas that are swamped and overwhelmed with fast food restaurants, liquor stores, and overpriced corner stores. Neglected communities notorious for having limited access to clean and budget friendly foods have quickly become a major health crisis threatening the well being of people in low income areas. Members of communities, as such, can make a powerful difference by coming together for their environment to plant natural gardens for fresh produce throughout their neighborhoods. If you drive 5 miles in any direction from which you live, what are the chances you come across a fast food restaurant? And what are the chances you come across a healthy, fresh grocery store? Food deserts don't have healthy and fresh grocery stores, which is why it's important to understand the immense benefits that can come from planting gardens in communities as such. Urban gardening can be tremendously beneficial for community members of all ages. It encourages them to work together to plant and to protect gardens in their neighborhoods to eventually supply their families with fresh, clean fruits and vegetables. I've done research on the benefits of urban gardening, as well as research on the negative effects that fast food and unhealthy restaurants have on society. I've also become a gardener myself over the last year, so I've seen how it can tremendously affect someone's life for the better. Gardening has three main parts: planting the seeds, nurturing the seeds, and then eating what grows from them. It's important to know how urban gardening can affect society, so I'll start by describing how it can affect individuals. According to Ron Finley, a South Los Angeles native, he describes in his TED Talk called Garden Gangster that drive-thrus are killing more people than drive-bys. If you've ever heard the phrase, "you are what you eat," well, it's true. Communities dominated by cheap, fast food restaurants with a rare supply of clean produce can only lead to one thing: malnutrition. Serious health risks will skyrocket and mental clarity will plummet due to the absence of proper nutrients the brain needs to sustain itself. Finley mentions that he sees wheelchairs bought and sold like used cars. He sees dialysis centers popping up like Starbucks. There will be a rise in doctor offices for patients with serious health concerns, such as obesity, diabetes, and cardiovascular disease. The undersupply of clean, nutritional food can lead to much more than just unhealthy weight gain and energy loss. Lack of exercise, irregular sleep patterns, and poor decision making result from malnutrition, consequently leading to a much larger decay in one's well being over time. Fortunately, these repercussions can be avoided with self-discipline, perseverance, and gardening. A simple flower can change one's perspective on life. Now imagine what a whole garden of pure, radiant produce can do to one's mind and body. It can be ever-changing. Gardening is an essential part of life because, like us, plants are living organisms. They thrive on clean water and fresh air and sunshine, thus becoming immensely beneficial for the human body. By naturally producing the proper nutrients we require to preserve our health, gardening ensures that we ingest the cleanest, most pure nourishment. Processed foods, on the other hand, do the exact opposite, inevitably declining one's prosperity. Finley declares that food is the problem, but food is also the solution, regarding that a dramatic change in one's diet can entirely change one's life for the better. He resumes by stating, to change a community, you have to change the composition of the soil, and we are the soil. With enthusiasm, he exclaims the depth in which children are impacted by gardening, because if they aren't properly educated on how clean nutrients can properly fuel their bodies, they'll eat anything you put in front of them. A hearty diet is the root core to a vigorous life, which will undoubtedly lead to a nourished brain to make worthwhile life decisions. A community garden would not only provide its citizens with an abundance of clean nutrients, but it also guarantees a positive impact on their mind and soul. In his TED Talk, Finley states that he has witnessed his garden become a tool for the education, a tool for the transformation of his neighborhood. He mentions how gardening is his graffiti. He grows his art. Just like graffiti artists beautify walls, he beautifies lawns and parkways and vacant lots. Gardening is pure and humanistic. Therefore, it naturally leads to a healthy path for an unsoiled state of mind. Being one with the earth is cathartic. Similarly to how Finley announces, you just can't imagine how amazing a sunflower is and how it affects people. Gardening is the most therapeutic and defiant act you can do, especially in the inner city and low-income areas. Plus, you get strawberries. The influential combination of fresh air, glowing sunshine, and pristine produce is purifying for humans, much like a sunflower being placed in the sun after suffering in the shade with no water. Now that you understand how areas with no clean, healthy foods can severely impact a community, I'm going to tell you how the positive benefits gardening can have on society. Gardening is a necessary deed that can entirely change society for the better if properly conserved. Humans are not meant to effectively survive on fast food and ultra processed foods. In order to maintain a vigorous life, eating clean is imperative. Gardening is as raw as it gets when it comes to fresh, wholesome nutrients that our bodies require to exceed our human capabilities. Not only does community gardening diminish the intake of processed foods, but it also promotes a healthy lifestyle, as well as bring forth a rewarding amount of natural therapy. Not only is gardening extremely beneficial for us humans, it has a tremendous impact on the environment as well. It provides harsh, rundown areas with pristine nature that can ultimately lead to a dramatic change in the overall status of their community. Thank you for listening.